As the world's largest coffee producer, Brazil's harvest plays a decisive role in setting global prices. After another season marked by challenging weather, StoneX has just released its first estimate for Brazil's 2026-27 coffee crop. The report points to a recovery in production, but also highlights the limits imposed by irregular rainfall and the aging of many plantations. To break down what these findings mean for global supply and prices, we're joined by one of the report's lead authors, Fernando Maximiliano, Market Intelligence Manager at StoneX Brazil. Fernando, great to have you with us.
Hi, Johanna. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So, as I just mentioned, the report points to a rebound in Brazil's coffee production for 2026-27. Can you walk us through the main findings and the factors that are driving this increase?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I would like to thank the whole coffee team at StoneX. João, or responsible for the field surveys, did a great job on surveying the coffee areas in Brazil. We have also Carolina, Leonardo. So there are many people working behind this, and I'd like to highlight their efforts to be able to get this very specific and important information. Yes, so we expect the production to recover in 2026. We did this survey right after the flowering in the main regions in Brazil. And we have to remember that the Brazilian coffee production suffered a lot in 2025. The drought that affected the Arabica production in Brazil in the second half of 2024 was able to decrease the production in Brazil. So we saw problems there during the flowering stage and the early stages of development. And we saw, for example, a more than 18% decrease in the Arabica production. So in 2026, we expect a recovery. Production is expected to increase by 13.5% up to 70.7 million bags.
I see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of this has been caused by weather irregularities. So, what were the key climatic factors that shaped this crop?
This is very important, Johanna. So basically, of course, the weather was better than in 2024. So, but it was not ideal. So it was not a perfect condition for the development. So the production is at this level, as we are mentioning here, is not full potential. We could see a larger production in Brazil. Another factor is that we saw important area expansion and investments, but on the weather side, we saw below average rainfall. The rainfall was delayed for a great part of the coffee belt in Brazil, and also we saw irregular rainfall. So it was not a regular rainfall. So all of these impacted the crop in Brazil. On the good side, the temperature was not as high, so we saw for many regions the temperature was below average for the period. So this was something crucial to help the development of the flowering stage and the flowering set and the flowering development, the fruit development, as we are now in the early stages of the fruit growth and expansion.
You also mentioned in your report the contrasting trends between Arabica and Conilon. Can you explain what's happening with each?
Yes, we expect the Arabica production to recover by 29.3%. So in 2025, our estimates were for Brazil were 36.5 million bags, and now we expect the production to go up to 47.2 million bags. And that makes sense, Johanna, because for the regions that didn't produce in 2024, they were able to recover throughout this period, and the coffee areas that were pruned, they will produce better in the next season. As they and also we saw area expansion, as I mentioned, and we saw investments. On the other hand, the Robusta production is expected to be lower. So we're looking at 8.9% decrease in the Robusta production, going from 25.8 million bags in 2025 to 23.5 million bags in 26. And we expect the production to fall in Espírito Santo and Bahia. And why is that? Is we had a massive production in 2025. The yields were a record. We saw a record production, and so the plants they didn't have time enough to recover from that very high production. On the other hand, the production in Rondonia is expected to increase by 32% because Rondonia had a problem for in 2025. The weather was not favorable for the production in 2025, but now the weather is much better and is helping the production to recover in the Rondonia state. So now we expect this decrease in the Robusta production, but this large increase in the Arabica production. That's why we're seeing the increase of 13.5 million bags in total Brazilian production in 2026. And also important to remember, this is the first estimate. We will have our team going into the field again in January, February, and March, and we'll review that number if necessary.
Okay, so Fernando, obviously we've had several years of global coffee deficits. So how could this Brazilian crop affect the international market going forward?
This is a very, very good question. We are facing weather challenges for the past 5 years. We saw La Nina, we saw El Nino, we saw a drought in Brazil every year since 2020 through 2024 at different levels. We had frost. And because of that, we also had drought in Vietnam, in Indonesia. So we saw problems worldwide. And we saw the stocks, global stocks, to fall more than 22 million bags over the past 4 years between 2021 and 2024 because of those weather problems on the production. In 2025, we expected balance to be even, not because we're producing more, but the consumption is falling because of high prices. So we in the production in 2025 was not able to recover stocks globally speaking, but in 2026, considering this important increase in the production, this is a relief to the market that is suffering from these supply issues, and we could see some recovery on global stocks if we see the production at this level. But it's important to highlight, Johanna, that this is a first estimate, but we need the weather to be appropriate in the coming months in order to have this production at this level. If we see any weather issue in the following months, then we could see the production suffering again. So weather again continues to play a very important role on the coffee market.
And one last thing before we let you go. Looking ahead, what do you see as the biggest risk and structural trends shaping Brazil's coffee sector?
Yeah, that's a very important topic. As we see weather changes, the number of extreme events has increased. We saw in Brazil suffering, as I just mentioned, many weather issues affected the Brazilian production in other countries as well. So it is challenging, and we expect the Robusta coffee in Brazil to continue to expand because it can stands at harsher conditions compared to Arabica. Arabica needs more lower temperatures compared to Robusta. There are many agricultural differences, but this is something everybody is concerned is how the weather will play out in the following years in terms of production in Brazil and in other countries as well.
I see. Fernando, great insights as always. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to our viewers for watching. You can read the full report using the link below. And for more financial content, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.